James here with Al Fink. Al Fink is the South Park Director of Hickory Hills. Is that correct?
It's South Unit Ranger,
Oh,
but that's all right.
that's all good. South Unit Ranger, excuse me. I am so excited about the Hickory Hills Light Show, which we're going to discuss in the news share and some other fun things. But first, an official introduction. Al Fink started with the Blackhawk County Conservation in 1992, first as a park ranger at Hickory Hills and later as the South Unit Ranger. He resided at Hickory Hills the entire time, 2.5 years until his retirement. And I bet he's looking forward to that.
I am.
Yes, that, and you should. After what a long, illustrious, hardworking career, you've accomplished so much. He was a sergeant with the LaPorte City PD. He graduated from the Iowa Law Enforcement Academy in 1989. He worked and owned a security company in Wyoming and doing contract work for the federal government. Very cool. For about 8 years before moving back to his home state of Iowa. He attended Cornell and Wartburg, studying art education before giving up on that or being invited to leave, not sure which. I love that. Okay. He was raised in LaPorte City, married for 39 years, 3 kids and 10 grandkids. Welcome to the podcast, Al.
Thank you very much.
Yes, it's just a pleasure to have you here. So tell us what to expect at Hickory Hills for the light show.
Our light show, this is the 3rd or 4th year. It started during COVID, and that was a whole different cat when we got into this because
Yes.
we threw it together really quickly that year, but had a huge turnout because there was nothing else for people to do.
Of course.
This year we've got sponsors that, and Corn Christmas is one of those
Yay!
that
Thank
helps
you.
support the project. And we have businesses, and they have signage on each of their sites that they come in and decorate their own sites. And then in addition to that, we've got our light display that goes up, and some of it is automated. We've got computer-controlled Christmas trees and tunnel, and a lot of bright stuff. We've actually got a short drone video that was shot this last weekend on our Facebook page and website.
Wow.
And so you can get a little peek of what it is. There's just a few seconds of it on there, but it gives you an idea of what you're going to be driving through.
And the website address again is?
It is blackhawkcountyparks.com, or you can find it real easily on Hickory Hills Facebook page.
There you go. I love it. I took my son Jonathan, who's 35. We went through there. I believe it was actually the first year you did it, at the COVID thing. And we made memories to last a lifetime. We loved it so much. We were blown away by the creativity out there that was inherent to each and every one of those displays.
Yeah, and that year was an interesting one because nobody had seen other people. And we had one night that I think there was 1,200 cars that came through. We had traffic issues because we had a mile of cars backed up waiting to get in there. And as those cars met each other on the road going through the park to get into the campground, the kids from one car were saying Merry Christmas to kids in the other cars as they were meeting them. And nobody knew anybody else, but it was just, one of those little gems of a time that everybody got to interact when they've been locked up for so long.
Right, for so long.
I think right now our favorite part, my part and the rest of the staff's part, is seeing the excitement with the kids when they come through this light display. And the anticipation when we're collecting that $10 at the door, at the gate from them, to go in, and everybody's wishing you Merry Christmas, and there's just nobody that, it's an opportunity to do something where everybody you deal with has got a positive outcome.
Yes, I love that. The inherent energy to that, right? The
Yes.
positivity.
Yes.
Oh, that is so beautiful. So tell me, Al, to go way back, when did you first know you wanted to work in the park industry?
I always enjoyed working and recreating outside.
Yes.
I I'm a little bit of an anomaly when it comes to park rangers and naturalists and everything else throughout Iowa. Um, this job that I'm in requires a college degree in what I'm doing today.
Mhm.
Um, I was fortunate enough to have some skills that they wanted and fell into this job in 1992 and have been what I think is fairly successful at it.
Beautiful.
And
I love it.
but we've been, I've got nothing but respect for the people that have gotten the education
Yes. Yes.
and
Of
done that,
course.
and I lean on them for a lot because I
Yes.
just don't know it.
Right.
Managing the people and managing the public have always been my strong suits,
Yes.
and that's what I think has got me to where I'm at today.
Oh, I love that so much. It's beautiful. Though you went to Cornell and you went to Wartburg, but it was for art education. You said your daddy was an educator and a principal.
My dad was my junior high principal, my high school
Oh,
athletic director, and he was
yes.
administrative assistant in LaPorte, and
Wow.
then retired as an elementary principal again in LaPorte about 26 years ago.
Oh, how beautiful. So you had that model you were going to emulate, and then you determined that your true calling was the outdoors.
Yes,
Yes, I love that.
yeah. The 8 years in Wyoming and the recreational opportunities out there led to a lot of desire to stay outside.
Yes.
And when I had the opportunity to come back and work in LaPorte, where I was born and raised, and I jumped at that opportunity. And then a few years later, this
Absolutely.
presented itself, and I've never regretted this at all.
That's so beautiful. Tell us, do you have any fun childhood stories?
I I don't, the typical childhood stuff. I spent my whole childhood again recreating outside, working for farmers. There aren't very many farmers around that I don't know that I haven't worked for their dads or grandpas or something, baling hay and doing that kind of stuff outside. And
Nice.
um,
Nice.
it LaPorte is a nice small town. You still know people that you knew from back in those days that are still running around town. And but yeah, that's nothing in particular stands out though.
But you have such a strong work ethic. And I love to hear about all your activities back then, working on someone's farm, baling hay, all of that. What did you like most about that type of work?
Probably just being outside.
Yes. Yes.
Working with friends and that sort of stuff. And it everybody just got along back in those days. It was as much fun as it was work.
Yes.
A lot of times,
Yes.
and you'd complain about it, but the money was good. There was always people to hire you, and it was fun to do.
Of course. Did you ever detassel corn?
I did for 1 year. My dad ran a crew, which is not uncommon for educators to do that kind of thing because they got summers free.
Sure, of course.
But I did that 1 year, and that wasn't one of the fun outdoor jobs. The year after that, I decided I wanted to be one of the contract foremen for Pioneer. So I was the guy counting to make sure that it was detasseled well enough rather than actually doing the work.
Right. Good job. I love it. I detassel corn too. I mean, it's hard work. I did it for several years. And but then again, you build the relationships.
Yeah.
Like you talked about back then. I don't know. There's some backbiting going on today that I'm not a fan of. Back then, everybody was friends. And so our lunch hours were the best times. It is jump on the gun. We're talking about this, that, and the other thing and eating our lunch and then back in those rows, taking out those tassels. But it teaches you hard work.
It does.
Yes, it really does. And I love that. Okay, so let's talk about pet peeves.
It the what I do, and I'm going to talk about work here
Okay.
about that. But um, what what I do in the park system, it's easy to get upset with the public
Mhm.
if they're not behaving correctly or
Yes,
taking care of the property and that sort of thing.
of course.
Um, but most of what we do, we get to deal with people on a positive note.
Oh,
The
yes.
difference between doing law enforcement and enforcing rules and laws in parks and doing it on the city level, as in
Mhm.
LaPorte or any other place, most of our interactions are on a positive side rather than having problems with
Yes,
somebody.
of
Um,
course.
it's the obvious stuff, I guess, that I got the pet peeves about. You
Like,
always have people that don't know what they're doing and mess something up.
sure.
It's the ones that intend to do it that you get upset about.
Yes.
The the other big pet peeve I've got is there are people in this business and law enforcement, park rangering, whatever it is, that get so wrapped up and upset. And I've got nothing but respect for the people who do this, but frustrated, angry, upset with people that are breaking the rules, breaking the laws, and that sort of thing.
Yes.
I've always approached that as that's their job, and I wouldn't have this job if it wasn't for them to
Yes.
do their piece and me to correct it.
Yeah.
And
There you
and
go.
as long at the end of the day, you get the problem taken care of,
Yes.
you're handling it the right way.
There you go. I love that attitude. That's beautiful. It's such a positive spin on that pet peeve.
Yeah.
And I love that so much. How about bucket list? Do you have any bucket list items?
I've got with 2.5 years left before I retire. I've got some stuff that my wife and I want to do.
Yes.
We would like to, uh, as I might have said before, we've got a camper and a truck to pull it with.
Yeah.
We'd like to see some of the East Coast. We'd like to see
Yes.
some more of the Gulf Coast that we haven't seen already. We'd like to do some traveling
Yes.
out to Washington, Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, and see some of those things that we haven't seen together in our lifetime. Most of the Midwest we've covered. A lot of the Southeast we've covered, but there are just some other places that we'd like to see. Work-wise,
Yes.
I've been concentrating the last few years on getting some big projects done in the park. I want to make sure that I leave
Yes.
that 725-acre park and the 4,000 acres on the south side of Blackhawk County that I'm in charge of in the best shape that I can for the next person coming in on my position. We're in the middle of a lake renovation at Hickory Hills Park right now,
Wonderful.
and just finished the dam gate on that. We've got some fish habitat to go in, and then we'll start capturing the water running off and putting water back in the lake. We've done campground renovations, new electric in the campground. We've got a new huge septic system that takes care of the whole park that was funded, and a lot of these things we've got to say thank you to the board of supervisors, because that's where our money comes from.
Yes.
And they're the ones that support us very, very well
Right.
when it comes to us asking for these things to help the public enjoy the outdoors.
Oh, how beautiful. I love that. So lovely. So tell me about your goals for the future.
To get through the last 2.5 years and get the things done, to try to spend more time doing woodworking. I really enjoy that.
Oh, yay! I love it. Tell us about your woodworking.
Furniture stuff, and I do a variety of stuff that is really rustic stuff that's fine furniture, that sort of thing. With this job and the amount of time that it takes, and I do some of that stuff at work, it's hard to find time to do that for yourself.
Yes.
So it's a time-consuming thing that my wife isn't always pleased about the mess I leave behind because it's something that's spread out and takes up space and that sort of thing. But I'd like to spend a lot more time fishing, a lot more time chasing grandkids and seeing the things that they're involved in. This job allows a lot of that in the wintertime. In the summertime, you never know what you're doing. And there are some of our park rangers are resident park rangers. They live in the park that they work in. And that kind of leaves them on call whenever they're home because you never know who's going to knock on the door or who's going to call and what you're going to have to go fix.
Yes.
So, but just the routine stuff that everybody talks about having time to do.
Yes.
When they get to this point in their life and the job's over and the retirement begins.
Yes. And tell me about this woodworking. That is so exciting to me. So, do you consider yourself a maker?
Yeah, I do. My father is a very fine cabinet maker and furniture maker and everything else.
Beautiful.
That has never been, and I can do all right with that, but his tolerances and what he does with oak, I kind of morph that into straightening out barn boards or fishing oars or whatever, and making furniture and pieces out of that kind of stuff. So I do a wide variety of the stuff. The really fine, straight line, expensive stuff that you see in furniture stores is not what I prefer to do.
Sure. It's not creative enough for you.
That, and it takes a lot more time.
Sure, of course.
To get to that point versus some of the rustic stuff. And our decor in our house goes along with that rustic stuff.
So like shabby chic?
Yeah. Yeah, it's more ranch house or that kind of barn board kind of stuff. Harvest table type of setup that we've got.
Now, you must have a workshop in your home.
I've got one at the house, and we've got one in the shop. So I've got they're in the park, so I've got room to do all that.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
I love it so much. Do you ever take commissions?
I've done some stuff for our nature center for our Under the Harvest Moon Festival that we do every year. And this year, another staff person's husband made a bench, but I've made tables, chairs, benches, that kind of thing for that. I've made some stuff that I've never sold anything that way.
Not yet.
But I've done a lot of stuff as donation for fundraisers and that kind of thing. So
that's so beautiful. You never know in retirement.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. Okay, so let's talk about the Holiday Light Show. What's your favorite part about this event?
I think the dealing with the people when they come through the gate. I feel pretty confident talking about on behalf of all of our staff that none of us, we all enjoy the project. Nobody is thrilled about the setup and the tear down because it's a ton of work.
Yeah. I can only imagine.
It's exciting. The planning stages are the exciting part of it. I think our guys that are in charge of the computer programming for the trees and the tunnel and that sort of thing have their fair share of frustration getting that stuff to all work correctly. But it has to be dealing with the people, seeing the people year after year, seeing people that only show up for the light show because they don't camp. They don't do that sort of thing. But you remember them year to year. I've got people that used to camp, used to rent cabins and stuff when their kids were little, that are now coming in with grandkids in the car and that sort of thing.
Oh, I love that.
But it's always best when you see that car full of kids.
Yes.
And everybody excited
Yes.
to come through there for that.
That's right. So you drive in. Which part of the park should we enter in?
When you come into the park, you can't miss it. You'll see the lights when you get about a half mile into the park.
Okay.
And there's a little shelter there that we collect the money from. It's $10 cash or check at the gate. We do not take cards.
Okay. Good to know.
And but you come in there. It takes about 15 minutes to drive through the campground. It's the main campground. The reason we set it up there is it has all the electric pedestals sticking out of the ground already. So everybody, all the lighting needed far fewer cords and stuff to be able to set it up there.
Sweet.
And it's a road that runs right through, and you're driving within 5-6 feet of the lights you're looking at as you go through it.
So beautiful. And when you drive up, you'll see a sign that says turn your radio dial to 106.5
Right.
Corn Christmas.
It is. It's right there by the money booth.
Yay.
And,
I love it.
It says right there, and we still have to remind most of the people that because they're looking at us and exchanging money and everything else. So we pass that on to them when
Thank you. Appreciate it.
when they see it. So.
It's a beautiful collaboration. Thank you for allowing us to be this small part of your beautiful event.
It's been a pleasure. Your engineer is always great to work with on the
Thank you.
antenna work and that sort of thing. But
Mark Schumacher is amazing.
Yes.
He's the unsung hero here.
Yes.
He's behind the scenes. We're all on the mics. We're on the videos. Yeah, Mark Schumacher is amazing because people don't realize everything that he is doing.
We're always excited to try to make sure that he's going to make it and we're going to get everything. And it's always last minute for him, but it's always easy, and he knows that it is, and it's always a piece of cake.
That's beautiful.
And, it literally takes 5 or 6 minutes down there to set the thing up.
There you
and
go.
be ready to go. I know he's got some behind the scenes stuff that he does, but he's been a pleasure to work with.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And this has been a great collaboration on our part. The amount of visibility we get from this and airtime we get from this is great.
Oh, that's so.
And again, it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday this week. Friday, Saturday, Sunday next week, 6 to 9 p.m. $10 a car.
The best $10 you'll ever spend this holiday season. Trust me. Vicki St. James, and any last closing thoughts, Al Finke?
I appreciate the opportunity to come in and talk about it. It's been fun. It's my first podcast.
Ooh, yay!
I had a good time. Thank you for having me.
And we had a delightful time with our viewers, with our listeners. Thank you for bringing such joy to the station today. I really appreciate you, Al. Yes, and we'll see you at the Holiday Light Show at Hickory Hills, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this weekend and next weekend.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Vicki St. James and Al Finke, over and out. You can end the recording.
Up here.
Have a good day.